So let's break it all down. Michael Atwood has been in the game for a while. He's clever, calculated, and desperate to reunite with his little boy and the woman he loves. But Irina Vlaslov, the cold, steel-nerved wife of a jailed Russian mob boss, is holding all the cards. Irina wants something from him, and she's not the kind of woman who asks nicely. She's ruthless, the kind who has people killed like it's just another business expense. To get back what matters to him, Michael teams up with his usual partners, Russell Welch, who's like his right hand, and Gabe, Russell's brother, who used to be a cop until he got kicked off the force. Irina orders them to snatch a particular safety deposit box from a local bank. Inside are documents that could get her husband cleared of all charges and spring him from prison. Michael knows the job's risky, maybe the riskiest thing they've ever done. So he decides to bring in extra muscle. Two crooked cops named Marcus Belmont and Franco Rodriguez. He promises them a fat payout if they can pull it off. The crew agrees, though tension already simmers between them. Everyone wants the score, but no one trusts anyone. Meanwhile, we get a glimpse of someone on the other side of the law. Chris Allen, a young detective starting his shift. He kisses his wife Michelle goodbye, gives their little kid a hug, and heads out, completely unaware that his day is about to spiral into madness. While Chris is just gearing up for work, Michael and his crew are suiting up for war. They mask up, load their guns, and slide into position outside the target bank. Russell waits outside in the getaway car, scanning for trouble. The second they storm inside, everything erupts into chaos. Michael and the others quickly take down the guards and herd everyone to the floor. He corners a bank manager, shoves a gun in his face, and demands access to the safety deposit box. The man gives in, trembling. They grab the box and whatever's inside it. Here's where things go sideways. While everyone else sticks to the plan, Gabe secretly crams bundles of cash into his bag. It wasn't part of the plan. They weren't supposed to steal money, just the box. But greed gets the better of him. Once they've got what they came for, the crew tries to bail. They toss a grenade at the bank's entrance to stall the cops and sprint to the getaway car. But the cash Gabe grabbed was loaded with dye packs, and they explode mid-escape, spraying red smoke everywhere inside the car. The driver panics, loses control, and screeches to a halt in the middle of traffic. Sirens wail in the distance. Thinking fast, they jump out, open fire in the air to scatter civilians, and hijack new cars right on the spot. To cover their tracks, they blow up their old getaway vehicle before disappearing into the city. When they finally get to a safe hideout, everyone's furious. Franco and Marcus snap at Gabe for ruining the operation with his greed. Guns get waved around. Michael has to step in, barking at them to put their weapons down before they kill each other. After cooling off, they torch the last car and split up quietly, slipping away on different routes to avoid police heat. Russell later corners Gabe privately and chews him out, reminding him how lucky they are not to be dead or in jail. We learn Russell and Michael both used to be Navy SEALs, while Gabe once had a bright future as a cop before something went horribly wrong and got him fired. While the crew licks their wounds, the police are already on their trail. Detective Jeffrey Allen is put in charge of the case. He knows the stolen safe box belonged to a Russian billionaire named Dmitry, but he has no idea who's behind the robbery or why they wanted it so badly. Chris, who, by the way, turns out to be Jeffrey's nephew, shows up at the station after hearing about the heist. Witnesses claim they heard the robbers speaking Spanish. That's awkward because Marcus and Franco, the dirty cops who helped do the robbery, just so happen to speak Spanish fluently. They're sitting right there, pretending to be regular cops and not at all nervous. Chris is the new guy on the force and gets paired up with Marcus as his partner. But Marcus clearly doesn't like him. He acts cold, brushes him off, and doesn't bother hiding his annoyance. Meanwhile, Michael delivers the stolen safe box to Irina. She greets him coolly, then brings out his young son. The boy runs to Michael happily, and we learn this kid is actually Irina's nephew, because his mother is Irina's younger sister Elena. This is the emotional heart of the story. Michael is risking everything because Irina threatened to keep Elena and their son away from him forever if he didn't do what she said. Now that he's completed the bank job, he demands what she promised. Let him take his family and pay him the agreed money. But Irina laughs in his face. She tells him the job isn't over. The documents from a safe box are useless without matching data from the Department of Homeland Security system. She orders Michael and his crew to break into a DHS office and steal the rest of the evidence. Until that's done, she says Elena and the boy stay with her. Michael is crushed. As he leaves, he runs into Elena, who just got back from a tense meeting with FBI agents working for Irina's jailed husband. Their brief eye contact says everything. They miss each other but can't speak. Elena silently hands Irina a satellite phone, saying her husband called. Michael knows he has no choice. If he wants to see his family again, he has to pull off this second, even riskier job. He calls the crew back together to plan. But before they can meet, Irina sends her goons to kidnap Russell. They beat and torture him to make sure Michael understands who's in charge. Michael and the others are waiting for Russell when his car finally rolls up, swerving strangely. Sensing something's wrong, Michael rushes over and finds Russell barely alive, mangled from the torture. Russell can't be saved. In a moment that shocks the whole crew, Michael is forced to put his old friend out of his misery. Gabe watches, traumatized as Michael pulls the trigger. The room goes silent. Their team just lost its backbone, and morale crashes. But Michael steels himself. They have to keep going, or everything was for nothing. The problem is they don't know how to hit a federal building without drawing an army of cops. That's when Marcus and Franco float a cold-blooded idea. Pull a 999. 999 is police code for officer down. If a cop gets shot, every available unit in the city rushes to that scene, leaving everywhere else unguarded. Marcus suggests staging this, killing a cop to trigger the mass response, then hitting the DHS office while the entire force is distracted. Marcus even picks a target, his own new partner, Chris Allen. Chris is a Marine vet, sharp, and, most importantly, expendable in Marcus's eyes. Everyone just stares, realizing how dark this plan is. The next morning, Chris and Marcus get assigned to look into a gang-related murder. Chris, still trying to prove himself as the new guy, has no idea that his partner is secretly plotting to have him killed as part of the crew's grand scheme. Michael's running out of time, and every decision could get someone killed. Chris was determined to dig into the murder case that had been dropped on his lap, so he headed to the scene, hoping to squeeze out some information. A bunch of local gang members were hanging around there like they owned the place. He tried to question them, but they weren't having it. They gave him nothing but attitude, tossing insults and mocking him to his face. Chris, being hot-headed, almost threw down with them right there on the sidewalk, ready to fight if that's what it took to get answers. That's when Marcus showed up and stepped between them before things exploded. Marcus warned him quietly that the gangs in this neighborhood were the kind of people who wouldn't think twice about killing even a cop if they felt disrespected. Later that night, Chris met up with his uncle, Detective Jeffrey Allen, at a bar. Between sips of beer, Jeffrey told him the ongoing bank robbery case was starting to look way bigger than anyone first thought. There were signs it wasn't just a random heist. Something big was behind it. Meanwhile, Marcus slowly tried warming up to Chris during their patrol shifts together. He started cracking small jokes, trying to make him feel like part of the team, though Chris could tell Marcus was still holding something back. The next day, Chris managed to track down a gang member who might know something about the murder. After some clever questioning and patience, he finally got a name out of him, someone who could be the mastermind. With that new lead, Chris and Marcus rounded up a small squad of officers and set up a raid on the suspect's house. The second they stormed in, bullets started flying. The place turned into a war zone. It turned out the suspect wasn't just some random thug. He was part of Luis Pinto's gang, a group known for being heavily armed and vicious. Chris tried to arrest the guy, but the gangster pulled a gun and shot him, grazing his side before bolting out the back. Marcus chased him down, tackled him, and the two got into a messy brawl. Chris caught up just in time and ended it by shooting the suspect. While all that chaos was going on, Jeffrey was still trying to solve the robbery case. One of his trusted informants slipped him a tip, and the name Gabe came up as one of the crew who pulled it off. Meanwhile, Michael was busy making his own moves. He told Irina that he was ready to do the second job she'd forced on him, but begged her to let him talk to Elena and their son first. Irina allowed a quick call. Elena told Michael that she and their boy were in Tel Aviv, and he needed to hurry if he wanted them back. But Michael knew time wasn't on his side. Gabe, still drowning in grief over his brother Russell's death, couldn't shake the guilt and wanted to stop the DHS heist from happening. He decided to try warning Chris about what was coming. So he started quietly tailing Chris and Marcus around the city, looking for a chance to talk. But Marcus spotted him and cornered him hard. He kicked Gabe to the ground and warned him to stay away. Marcus didn't want anyone, especially Chris, finding out that he had history with Gabe. Chris later asked Marcus who that guy was. Marcus brushed it off and claimed Gabe was just some old informant of his. Not giving up, Gabe tried again, this time sneaking over to Chris's house. What he didn't know was that Detective Trina Ling, Jeffrey's partner, had been tracking his movements. She picked up Gabe's trail near Chris's neighborhood and alerted Jeffrey. Jeffrey sped over, worried Gabe might try something. By the time he got there, Chris was unharmed, and Gabe had slipped away again as soon as he spotted the incoming sirens. Then came the day everything boiled over. It was the day Michael's crew planned their big DHS break-in. Marcus told Chris they were going to check out an abandoned housing complex, claiming an informant there had new info on their murder case. But it was all part of Marcus's secret plan, the infamous 999 setup. The idea was simple but brutal. Stage the death of a cop to pull every unit in the city to one place, giving Michael and Franco the distraction they needed to hit DHS. While Chris and Marcus headed into the crumbling housing blocks, Franco slipped off to infiltrate the DHS office and grab the data Irina needed. Chris followed Marcus down dark hallways full of shadows and trash. At one point, Marcus quietly broke away, disappearing without a sound. That's when Luis Pinto himself stepped out of the darkness. It hit Chris instantly. This was an ambush. Luis had been sent to kill him, and Marcus had set him up. But before Luis could strike, Chris bumped into Gabe hiding nearby. Gabe grabbed him and blurted out a warning. "They're going to kill you here." Chris barely had time to process it before Luis opened fire. The shot missed Chris and hit Gabe instead. As Luis fled, bleeding, Gabe collapsed. Chris tried to help him, demanding answers. But before Gabe could say anything, Marcus returned. A sudden shootout broke out between him and Gabe, leaving Gabe dead and Marcus shot in the head. Chris panicked. Marcus might be dying. He instantly radioed in a 999, "Officer down, call," unknowingly setting Michael and Franco's heist plan into motion. While Chris scrambled to save Marcus, the emergency call triggered exactly what Michael needed. Every available cop raced toward Chris's location, leaving DHS exposed. Michael and Franco slipped in through the chaos, fought through light resistance from few guards, and stole the files Irina wanted. Afterward, Michael went to meet Irina and her men to make the exchange. He brought a toy as a gift for his son, thinking he was finally about to be reunited with him. Irina took the files and tossed Michael a bag of cash as agreed. But when he asked for his son, she flatly refused and smirked. She had no intention of giving him back his family. Her men beat Michael to the ground for protesting. He staggered back to his car, looking defeated, but inside the toy gift was a hidden bomb. As Irina and her thugs laughed, the bomb went off, killing all of them instantly. Michael then went looking for Franco to split the money. But Franco betrayed him, shooting Michael dead and taking the entire payout for himself. Meanwhile, Marcus lay in a hospital bed in a coma. Chris kept visiting him, trying to piece together why everything had gone so wrong. He also found out from SWAT reports that Luis Pinto had been gunned down during a raid. Going through Luis's belongings, Chris found a small folded note in his wallet. It listed coordinates, the exact location Marcus had taken him on the day of the ambush. It clicked. Marcus had secretly told Luis where to find and kill him. Chris visited Marcus's unconscious body, hoping for answers he knew he wouldn't get. Just then, Franco appeared in the room, acting all casual and friendly. He invited Chris to ride back with him to the station to clear up paperwork about the shooting. As they walked out, Chris's phone buzzed. It was Jeffrey, sounding frantic. He told Chris that Franco wasn't just dirty. He had been part of the DHS robbery and tied into the whole mess with Marcus and Luis. Chris glanced at Franco, realizing he was sitting inches away from the man who helped set him up to die. They walked to their cars quietly. Chris got in his, Franco in his own. But as Franco closed his door, something unexpected happened. Jeffrey was waiting in Franco's back seat with a gun drawn. Gunfire erupted inside the car. Franco was shot dead. Jeffrey was hit in the stomach, but managed to crawl out before collapsing. Chris rushed over, calling another officer down. As medics arrived, he stood there lighting a cigarette with shaky hands, staring at his bleeding uncle on the pavement. Whether Jeffrey lives or dies, we never really find out.